for listening to the AZ12 podcast. I am your host, Mike Luke, joined by the great Matt Rain. Matt Rain on assignment. Where are you, Matt? Are you in Washington, D.C.?
I'm in Washington, D.C. today, Mike, as I have been, but it's great to join you again. Talk some Arizona hoops, and I think we have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk to. We're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Brayden Burries. We're going to talk about the best names here. I'm going to ask Matt about some more Gen Z terms if I'm doing all of this right. First, I want to talk about Jeff Goodman for a second. Jeff Goodman retweeted me, or retweeted a tweet about me. Everybody's asking, "Hey, Mike, what's the story with Jeff Goodman?" I'll tell you the story about Mr. Jeff Goodman. Because it's a good story. When he was living with LeVar Ball, and LeVar Ball called in the radio, Jeff Goodman, and LeVar Ball said to me, he goes, my kid will only play for the Lakers. So I put that out. Keep in mind, I'm like Matt's age when I'm putting that out there. And then LeVar Ball says, goes through Jeff Goodman and says, no, I was misquoted, this and that. And then, well, come to find out, I just put the audio out there. No apology from Jeff Goodman, nothing. He and LeVar Ball had a messy breakup, and, they're not friends anymore. But, yeah, Jeff's still waiting for that apology there from you, buddy. I see what you're up to. All right, now.
Did you see what he did to Mark Titus the other day?
No, what'd he do?
He was on some show with Hunter Dickinson. Hunter Dickinson was talking crap about Barstool. And Goodman was trying to pretend like he didn't know who Mark Titus was and all this stuff. And then he called Mark during his show. And Mark was like, why is Jeff Goodman calling me? He just talked shit about me for the last hour and a half.
Right.
And then he was trying to apologize and everything.
Yeah, no, dude. Yeah, he's like I said, I've never, and keep in mind too, what was scary about that is I'm like 27, 28 years old. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Jeff Goodman. Because, Jeff Goodman is, he's saying this is all made up, this or that. And I put the audio out there, never apologized, anything like that. I've gone up to him a couple times at media events. And one time he pretended he didn't know about that. And I showed him all the tweets. And I said, well, you spent a lot of time on this. And he's like, yeah. But either way, Jeff Goodman. All right. And we've got a lot to, all right. So we got a lot to get to this show. Let's talk first of all, I want to talk about best names here. Listen, I've always thought that Angel Antonio Chavez was the best name in the chat. I'm sorry. Sal Capone enters the chat yesterday.
That's pretty good.
Sal Capone enters the chat. Storm Briscoe is another really good one, but Sal Capone, I can't get any better than that. I would say as the kids, how would the kids say as that being the what's a Gen Z?
I mean, the GOAT, I don't know, man. I mean, yeah. It's hard to beat Sal Capone for sure.
Yeah, there's nothing sus about it. All right, let's talk a little bit about Brayden Burries. Brayden Burries commits to the University of Arizona. All right, now here's the thing. Can we also talk? Oh, Peak. Is that Peak? Is Peak good for that one?
Yeah. Okay. Peak.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Peak. All right. Yeah, it's Peak. All right. Brayden Burries commits to the University of Arizona. Brayden Burries is a big time. This big time. And I think we're going to go through some recruiting stuff, but we need to talk a little bit about just what he brings to the table. Wildcat Fanalytics. I'm going to get back to that. Okay. But let's talk a little bit though about what he brings. I think he's as big a recruit as Tommy Lloyd's ever had. He's from California. He's a top 10 player. He's a point guard. He was able to do a lot of different things. You need scorers. He's awesome. This was a massive get.
It was a massive get, and we talked about it last time. But we talk about guys that are NBA ready. I mean, he's college ready. He was last year. He is going to be ready this year. I think he has the physical tools needed to compete. And what I like about Burries a lot too is, you see a lot of guys in high school, and sometimes when you're that talented, you kind of get lax on defense. Maybe you miss some defensive assignments, and it happens every once in a while. But Burries is always connected on defense. He's always bought in. And for Tommy, I know he looks for guys like that. He looks for guys that are bought in on defense, who are going to give their 100%. Because, if you have a guy who just wants to play offense, it's probably not the right system for you. So I love Burries. We can talk a little bit more specifically about the pros and maybe some of the drawbacks that I see in his game. But overall, I think he's going to be massive for this team next year.
He's going to be huge for it. Now, one person in here in Wildcat Analytics, I know what you guys. I posted on Shear's board. They're like, you want better than Evan Nelson. Here's the problem that I'm going to keep getting into with the third ball handler is that Brayden Burries is brought in to play, even though I don't think he's really a point, he's being brought in to play the point guard position. Jaden Bradley is also going to play the point guard position. One of those two guys is going to be handling the ball 35 minutes out of the game, most likely. You're not going to have, so guess what? That's not an idea, and I say this respectfully, that's not an ideal spot for somebody who wants to play, who's good, that wants to play 20 to 25 minutes. This is more of a 5 to 10 minute per game role. And the reason I like Nelson is because he's a solid defender and he can shoot threes and he can bring the ball up the court. And he's bigger than Conrad. I don't know what else to say. It's again, you're not going to get somebody that's going to spend 15, 20 minutes per game here. It's just, just is what it is.
Right. And it's the same problem, people talking about, oh, we need another big. What big are you going to get who is going to happily accept a fourth place kind of role there in the front court? I mean, when you have Pete, Awaka and Krivas, that big is probably going to be riding the bench barring an injury. And, maybe you get a developmental guy to come in and that's probably the best case scenario. But, E-Man was that developmental guy and he left for greener pastures. So I think in today's transfer portal, it's really, really tough to convince guys to come to just sit on the bench.
Yeah, I mean that's just kind of, like I said, that's just kind of the way it is. You're not going to get a combo guard that you're going to say, "Hey, come in and you don't handle the ball." I don't know what else to say. So we'll see how that plays out. But anyways, back to Brayden Burries. What are your statistical expectations for him next year?
I think he's got to be a double-digit per game scorer, right? I think we probably agree on that. We got to replace Caleb Love's scoring ability, and Burries has the ability to do that. If he can get 12, 13 points and maybe kind of certain games get up to 20, I think that's a great spot for him. What was Caleb Love this year? 15.5 per game, something like that. But, with Caleb too, of course, he could get you 25 on any given night. And obviously he scored 35 against Duke. So that's what I'm expecting for Burries. I hope throughout the course of the year that, he continues to grow, continues to get more comfortable in the game. I think my one concern, Mike, and maybe, I don't know if you want to speak on this as well, is watching his tape. And I think Shear mentioned this the other day on the podcast. He is a little bit slower of a first step, right? He plays very much in control.
It's very
smooth.
Yes.
It's very controlled. It's very smooth. And, maybe the concern is that at the next level against the highest level of athlete, is he going to be able to beat his man off the dribble? Is he going to be able to stay in front of the best athletes? And, a lot of that is TBD, and we'll find out a lot come the beginning of the season, especially with our non-conference schedule. But overall, his offensive efficiency, the way he shoots the ball, the way he moves.
Like you said, he's very college ready. Mr. Tyler Warden, Brayden Burries is like a California Walter Clayton. Well, if he's Walter Clayton, I will take that every day of the week. I would love to have Walter Clayton. Burries looks a lot like Trier as a scorer. Does he not? Better passer, but probably will get blocked at the rim often. I think he's better than Trier. Here, I don't hate Trier, but at the end of the day, Trier to me was never a winning basketball player. I never felt like when I watched Alonzo Trier, that was a guy that was going to make winning plays when it really mattered. I think he was about getting his. When you watch, he could never play the point guard. When you watch somebody like Brayden Burries can play the point a little bit. Not only can he play the point a little bit, he can also he can make plays for teammates. I just think he's a better player. Like I said, I get where you're going, but Trier was, TJ Van Marder says Trier was all about Trier.
Yep. And Burries can make tough shots too. You watch some of his film and even some of his recent games as of a month ago. And, I think he had like 47 in a game or something like that in California. It's not a concern, but his 3-point shot, I think, could be a little bit quicker on the trigger. But look, when you come in with Tommy, these are things that are going to be worked on and going to be fixed. And I think by the time the season starts, he'll be ready to go. And then come March, he'll be even more ready to go. And I mean, Mike, when you look at a guy like Carter Bryant in comparison from when he started to where he finished, I think the same can be said for Burries. The development will happen, and really a game changer. Yesterday's commitment, truly a game changer.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit now about Carter Bryant and what he would mean for all of this. Because I like this. I see a mixture of Cade Cunningham and Shaedon Sharpe of Portland. I see an All NBA player immediately. I like it. That's a very, very good. I say we go with that one. All right, let's get a couple reads in here first. What do we got, Cody? You've got to pay a few bills. Longview. All right, now people keep trying to get me to endorse Longview. Matt Rain.
It's not going to happen.
Dude, I don't know why they keep doing this, and it will not happen. Not on my watch. There is a new sheriff in town, my friends. I will not endorse Longview, period, point blank. Just not going to do it. Just won't do it. But here's the deal. They are, Andre is here to help you with your financial plan and investment. Ready for today's market volatility? Is your plan built to adapt to economic shifts? What could your future look like with a personalized, financialized plan? Give Andre a call, 520-325-3456, and reference AZ12 Podcast for a complimentary initial meeting. But again, will not endorse it. Not going to do it. Won't do it. Won't do it. I sound like Dana Carvey with when he was talking about George H.W. Bush. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Not going to do George H.W. Bush for you Gen Zers.
That's how old you are, Mike. Referencing Dana Carvey's SNL days.
Yeah, I know. Dana Carvey was on Bill Maher the other day, and I'm like, yes. What? Okay. All right. Now, what else? What else do we got? Let's see here. Okay, Michael Rubin. Here's the other deal here. Maybe you're like Matt Rain, and you're like, you know what? I'm looking to get back into Tucson. Actually, Matt's not looking to get back into Tucson unless he's ready to run for governor. When is your governorship going to be?
That's a good question. Depends on timing.
Okay, all right.
But I'll be waiting for the critical Mike Luke endorsement for
yes.
Sure.
Oh no, I will endorse Matt Rain. I will not endorse Andre Ferris. But I can also endorse Michael Rubin, though. Here's the deal with Michael Rubin. He can help you buy, sell, or refinance. Local to Tucson, lifelong Wildcat fan, former teacher. Use code Jason Terry for $500 off closing costs. Debt reconsolidation, all of that. Boom. Check it out. Also, that little QR code right there. Check it out. Look at that cute little QR code. It is cool. Check it out. The Rubin Group, Michael Rubin. Use code Jason Terry again for $500 off. All right, now we need to. We're going to talk about Adia Barnes. Don't worry.
We will.
Yeah, let's see here. All right, now let's talk a little bit about Carter Bryant. To me,
is that his actual middle name? What's his actual middle name?
What did we decide? It's Dwayne. Isn't it Dwayne? Like Carter
Dwayne. That's cool.
What did we decide? I think it's Dwayne or something like that. But yeah, either way, it's
Carter Bryant, right?
Yeah, either way. You got to get Carter Bryant back, in my opinion, because Carter Dane Bryant. Okay. He to me is the difference between being a top 15 team and being a national championship team where you're like, okay, game on. We're going to be top 5, 6 in the country. You have to get him, in my opinion.
You have to. And Mike, doing some portal research on the small forwards that are still available, there are some serviceable guys, and I want to kind of go through those options if Carter Bryant does leave and who I think Arizona ought to target. But no one is even close to him. No one is even close to where he was last year and what he has the potential to be this year. And everything that he brings to the game, from his three-point shooting to his court awareness to his length on defense, it's not replaceable by any one guy in the portal. And you're right. It is the difference between being a top 15 team and being a top 5 team or top 3 team. I mean, again, I would not begrudge him for wanting to go to the NBA, but who knows? But you got to get him back if you're Arizona.
You got to get him back. There's no other way around it. You got to get him back. And, that's just the way it is. He is also somebody, he brings something that is very, very unique on this team. And that he brings a really, really good 3-point shot. And not only does he bring a good 3-point shot to the equation, he also is a really weak side defense, weak side shot blocking as well. That's something that I really like having, because I think when you got weak side shot blockers and you got 3-pointers, you got long length. That's really, Carter the Great Dane Bryant. Yes, that is, like I said, that's something that I think gives you a really good margin for error.
Yeah, the Great Dane Doe,
I like
as we call him.
Great Dane Bryant. That's
I like
really
that. That's
good. Yeah.
that's amazing. But I think with Carter too, I mean, talk about lineup flexibility for Tommy if Carter comes back, and you're looking at a lineup of potentially how about Jaden and Burries and Carter and Koa and Tobe. I mean, that provides so much flexibility, and the lineup that worked best for Arizona last year was the one that had Carter Bryant in it as the 4 and Vasar as the 5, and so maybe maybe you have a lineup of Carter at the 4 and Koa at the 5. I mean, you just it provides so many more options. And again, as I said, the portal guys that are there that are left, I can talk about them, but they're not even close to
they're not close, and they're not. Again, he's a top 50. If he comes back, there are some guys that I think when they come back, they're going to hurt their draft stock because they're going to be exposed more. Carter Bryant, you already know worst case scenario with Carter Bryant that he is going to be a 3-and-D guy. He already has that, but he can really up his his game by getting to that next level where where again you're taking players off the bounce. Again, it's not like he's ever going to be Sal Capone 499 super snap back the A baby. Oh, back Sal Capone, man. But he's never going to be somebody that's going to come up and he's going to try to beat you with 15 dribbles but I think he can get into that 2 to 3 to 4 realm. Coach Matt Rain, I think, might be able to help him a little bit.
Maybe. I trust Tommy and the coaching staff to coach him up. And I love Carter too, because he's such an unselfish guy. And we saw that this year, where he really maybe sometimes deferred shots or kind of took a step back to let Caleb or let KJ try to get theirs. And next year he can take that next step. I don't know. I just saw another mock draft where someone had him going in the lottery to the Rockets at the back half. It's possible too that over the next couple of months before the NBA draft, his stock would improve. And I'm sure he's talking about all those things with his family, but the NBA is very alluring, right? We saw Igor Demin of BYU. There was a lot of talk about him coming back. We know BYU has apparently endless money, they're paying Rob Wright $3.5 million allegedly. But look, Igor Demin probably going to be in that 12-13 range. So I know it's 50-50 from what you're hearing, from what Shear's hearing. And I hope he comes back, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Now, if you don't have him, if you don't have him, then you've got to get somebody. You got to get athleticism in there, and you got to get somebody that can shoot. That's for your spacers out there. And I think that's something that you got to. But it's also going to be a little bit more difficult because some of these guys are going to be spoken for. I think Arizona has a very good idea about who's going to be on the roster. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, I think so. The one guy, honestly, looking at who is still uncommitted and who I think is realistic, you probably got to take the swing on Ty and Grant Foster from GCU. And, you guys have talked about him in the past. Obviously he's not coming to Arizona if Carter stays, but if Carter goes and Tommy goes to him and says, look, man, you're going to be our starting forward. You're going to be our experience. We saw what he did at GCU. And yes, I know last year he was certainly more inconsistent than he was the year prior, but he's the guy who I think you've got to get if Carter leaves. And the other guys, just doing some research, I think Arizona could reach out to. They certainly would not be as good as Carter. You have Dan Skillings from Cincinnati, who I thought actually played pretty well against Arizona when we played them last year. Kennard Davis from Southern Illinois. Iowa State is interested. Lamar Wilkerson from Sam Houston State. Great name. He shot 44% from 3 last year. Tyler Harris, who's 6'8", scored 12 points per game for University of Washington last year. Jalen Celestine scored 7 points a game.
Yeah.
For Baylor, he's fine, but we're good. The main
is he mid?
Yeah, he's not great. I think Baylor fans expected him to do a lot better than he did.
I thought he'd be a lot better as well too than he was.
I thought so.
Yeah. So, all right, up front, I want to talk about this a little bit because I like where Arizona's at up front, especially too if you get Carter Bryant back. But let's get to we've got to pay a couple more bills first. All right, what do we got? Oh, Matt, I can't see.
Oh no!
Matt,
What's happening?
Matt.
I'm in the darkness. There we go. There we go. I see you.
Gosh, I can. You scared the crap out of me right there. All right, AccuView, my friends. AccuView is now offering $400 towards contacts, $150 for disposables, 4 locations. And again, proud partner of Arizona Athletics, optical options to fit all budget styles, preferences. Perfect place to glow up. 60 plus insurance is accepted, same day urgent visits, all kinds of really, really good stuff. And Arizona Primary Eye Care, they got 4 locations, Matt Rain, 4 locations. Matt, maybe you can start being the mayor of Douglas and work your way up because they got one in there as well. We get you free maybe. But yeah, either way. Now, hey, what brand are your glasses?
You know, that's a great question. I think they're just like, actually, you know what? Let me check. Let me double check. Let's see. You know, these might be just like, is there even a brand on these?
Oh yeah, that's even best.
Yeah, these are just like the generic whatever. But Mike, you know, you have some Tom Fords. You're fancy, man.
These are $500 Tom Fords, baby. Look how much better they make me look. I am presentable to some folks now when I was never presentable before. So again, check them out. They're the best. Cheryl is fantastic. Arizona Primary Eye Care. Glow Up was not on my bingo card. That's another dumb one. Okay, what else? What else we got here? Yeah. All right, Baggins is on my bingo card. I am going to Baggins today. I will be at Baggins at 12:30. I am very excited about this. Matt Rain, when you come back to Tucson, are you going to use Baggins and the code AZ12 for 15% off?
I will. As soon as I'm back in Tucson, that'll be my first stop. Everything else, every one of my favorite landing spots, they're all by the wayside because I can go to Baggins and get 15% off. That's a pretty good deal, Mike.
Right now, let's see here. That's a very it's a very good thing. Mike, you have a good face. You have a good face. Oh, that's,
you know what that means, Mike?
No, it sounds bad though. It sounds like an insult.
No, it's a good thing. That's a good thing. If you have if you have a good face card, your serving face, your serving looks, you know.
Oh. All right, thank you there, Rick Barents, the great Rick Barents. But again, and it comes with a cookie. Everybody, we need some more real-time pictures today at Baggins. Yeah, DeAndre Ayton, to me, he's a loser. Like he's in pros, like he just doesn't care that much. I don't know what else to say. He could have been a lot better than he is. Ayton averages like 14 and 10 in the MNBA. And if he cared, he could literally average like 28 and 14. Yeah. That's about where we're at. I would agree with that. Okay. Now I want to get back. Listen, because on this show now, we will talk some Arizona women's basketball as well. All right. Let me pull up this. Adia Barnes. I want to read all of this. This is very. Hold on. Let's see here. I should have had this pulled up already. Let's see here. Hold on. Where is it?
Let me just set the primer while you pull that up.
Yeah.
You know, as you all know, Adia Barnes has moved on to SMU, but apparently she's not moved on all of the way because she posted on the Facebook, the Arizona Wildcats women's basketball Facebook fan page, a very lengthy message, which really.
Yeah, this is great. All right. Yeah. Here we go. All right, I got it. All right. Yes. All right. So here, I'm just going to get to the end here. I came to Arizona when it was the lowest paying job in Power 5. No one could recruit talent to Tucson. Well, I mean, you came to Tucson on the women's side, and also the spelling is terrible, and the program was a mess. We changed things. We were relentless recruiters. We went out and served the community. Then people came. We won with a ton of limited resources. Now there is the portal, and you cannot sustain success without resources. So naturally, you will lose 5 to 7 players per year when they don't get paid. Good coaches without resources will improve players for the next team. I wish Arizona nothing but the best. Continue. Yeah. Basically, here's what this comes down to. You had for like 2 or 3 years, you had the rosters you wanted. You brought in top 10 recruiting classes. And guess what? You didn't bring in top 10 results. I don't really know what she's talking about here because, again, at the end of the day, you were bringing in very highly rated recruiting classes and you weren't getting much out of them and they were leaving.
Yeah, I have 2 main things to say. Number one, and something I told you, Mike, is that if you're a college basketball coach, you're making millions of dollars, you've moved on to another school, should you be posting on your old school's fan page? No. Yeah. In fact, I don't know of any other coach in America who has done that or would do that necessarily. It is pretty ridiculous. Like, you move on, You decided to leave, and Arizona decided to move on. But like, what are we doing? Why are you posting that? And number two, as you said, Mike, look, one of the most important roles of a college coach these days is roster management and keeping your players happy and making sure that students want to stay at the University of Arizona. That didn't happen. You have multiple players who have called her out on Instagram, TikTok, everything in between, and expressed their dislike of her.
And there's been a lot of players that have turned out to be really good on top of that too. So I don't know what else to do. One guy said Danny Hurley would absolutely do that. Yeah, he probably would, but if you win 2 national titles, you can probably go ahead and do that.
Yeah, but Danny Hurley also knows his like worth in a way. Like I don't know if he would really do that.
What I don't get about Adia is like, especially too, like her tweet when she put out there a resume that speaks for itself, and it's like, I mean, I don't. Yeah. And Jay Menino says, when we were having tryouts mid last season, you knew something was up. Yeah. I mean, she can't retain players because they generally don't like being around her. It's
right. Simple. And if you have players who don't like each other and they're fighting each other, I mean, that's kind of on you as the coach. And it sucks to say. But, I think especially for someone like Maddie Connor, who is a, Arizona native who had a lot of potential and then moved on to another school and did really well. You've got to be able to keep players like that. And this constant churn is not good, which I think is why Becky Burke is a good fit. She's won everywhere she's gone. She just hasn't. You talked about yesterday, but
I like the hire. And again, I know this is going to drive some people up a wall. I get it. And listen, at the end of the day, you also have to look at it, and you also have to say that. And again, I got to be very careful here. We all want Arizona women's basketball to be good. Desiree Reed-Francois was brought in, and there's a financial mess here, and she's got to prioritize things that make money. Women's basketball, unfortunately, just doesn't make money. It loses money. And so it's difficult for me to, say, hey, let's pay a coach $1.2 million when you're not going to even be good. And then, and you're on top of this, you're trying to deal with a budget issue as well. I mean, she's in a tough situation here, and I don't really know that, I don't know what else she should have done. How about that?
I don't know either. And obviously she is entitled to come in with her own priorities and what she wants to see from the women's basketball program or other programs on campus. But you're right, Mike, in the sense that you've got to be able to, if you're investing that much in a particular program, you've got to be able to win. And it's great that Adia and that team got to the Final Four. In my opinion, watching that team, there is one very big reason why that team got to the Final Four in the national championship game, and that's Ari McDonald.
Yeah.
She carried that team on her back. And
was it in hindsight, was it a fluke? Because I guess my other thing is that you didn't really have much success. I mean, I guess you make the tournament, but you didn't really have much success without Ari.
Yeah, you don't. Imagine, Mike, I think honestly it's similar to and then diverges to Sean Miller and Derek Williams. Derek Williams turned out to be kind of a generational type player at Arizona. He pushed Arizona to the Elite Eight. But imagine then if Sean got all these top recruits and then like barely made the tournament. And then like if he didn't have the success that he did moving forward in 2014, 2015, and then eventually they departed from him. But like you can't have that level of investment and that lack of roster retention and expect to continue at the same place. It just is not possible.
Yeah. All right. So there's again, I'm very much looking forward to this. I think this is and I like the what DRF was talking about too, about bringing in a new culture. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. So again, there is your Arizona women's basketball talk. Yes. Okay. Now let's get back to a little bit of Arizona men's basketball talk. I want to talk a little bit about the front. I want to talk about the front court. With the front court, listen, I don't know. People keep saying you need to add a bunch of people. I don't really see that. And the reason why I don't really see that is you've all assuming, and this is assuming you got Mo back, assuming you got Tobe back. There's all your minutes in a for that 5 position. Coel Pete is going to play 33 minutes per game, and he's a power forward. There's going to be times when Carter Bryant, if he is there, is going to play some of the 4. There's not a ton of minutes available at that 4.
No, there's not. But Mike, let me ask you a question. Carter Bryant played 19 minutes a game as a freshman. That's the most of any freshman under Tommy Lloyd. Do you think he's really going to give Koa Pete 33 minutes a game?
Yeah, I do, because
Okay.
the governor is skeptical on this, but here's why I think it's a little bit different. Is that Koa Pete's a top 5 to 8 player in the country, at a position that you don't have anybody else. Whereas with Carter was more like 20 to 25, and I think they were trying to. It's just my opinion. I think you're trying to hide Carter a little bit, so you bring him back.
Interesting.
Bring him back for another year. Koa's a one and done, so I don't really know. And he has to give Koa time, like Mike Luke's daughter. Oh, Mike Luke's daughter, get out of here. Says, because there are no other options. I think that's kind of true, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, and again, you run into the problem of you don't have minutes for any guys that you can bring in. I mean, I love one of the other guys I was looking at who I saw play in the regular season. The tournament is Jocelyn Bodo.
Oh, that's a great
High Point University.
Like yeah. High Point.
Bodo is an amazing player, and if someone like Krivas leaves, he's someone you want to get, but he's not coming to Arizona to be the 4th option.
Right.
You're going to get
smart about. If you're looking for these portal names, you got to be smart about who you're looking at, because it's got to, again, the kind of guys that I'm talking about right now are, and I don't even know that you can get him, or is a Justin Kier type. Somebody like that, where like you bring him in and he can, he's good enough to play, but you got to be smart about it. And no, Carter didn't reclassify. He's his own grade.
Mike, let me ask you a question about E-Man then. Do you think that Arizona pushed him out, or do you think he genuinely wanted to leave for UNLV? Because here's my thing. If you want him to stay, Tommy's like, look, dude, Tobey's gone after next year. Krivas, maybe NBA or Europe. You're gonna potentially be able to have a starting role if you continue to develop. But so I don't know. What's your impression of what happened?
Well, I don't think that E-Man was pushed out. E-Man to me just wants to play 25, 28 minutes per game. He wasn't going to play that here. E-Man they also didn't. I liked E-Man, honestly. I think E-Man could be good. I think E-Man's one of those players that, like, when he leaves, you're like, kind of wish that he hadn't left. But I like E-Man a great deal. The problem, though, is that he's just not going to play a ton, because he's also a Peer 5. By the way, somebody just entered the transfer portal that I would absolutely take if I was Arizona. Terrence Arsenault, bring him in.
Whoa.
Yes.
That's an interesting. I'm curious why, Houston just got Pop Isaacs yesterday from Creighton, but I love Arsenault. He's fantastic.
Yeah, Arsenault's awesome. I would definitely take Arsenault. They didn't push E-Man out, but again, it's, if you're looking around, what was also silly for me, though, is that why would you, if they're not, he didn't want to redshirt. They wanted to redshirt him. I don't understand not wanting to redshirt to play 3 minutes like in 10 games this season.
That was bizarre,
back, man.
I mean, maybe he just thought that he was going to improve so much throughout the year that they would have to play him. I don't know. I mean, that doesn't really make much sense to me. And now he's lost a year, but he's one of those guys too, Mike, that it like the transfer portal has made it really impossible to keep these guys on the roster. It just has. And if you don't have the transfer portal, you have the rule where you got to sit out a year still. He probably stays. And
Do you remember all the Arizona fans last year, Matt, that wanted Javier Ramos, who went to Wisconsin?
I do, and I don't know why that was a whole discussion, because
he's not good. But there are some people back that want him back. The great
Javier Ramos
wants Javier Ramos back. What's funny? The story, people are like, hey, I know it's Xavier, but for the longest time, I thought it was, I don't know why, but I thought it was Javier. So I went with it. And again, like I said, I turned him into like a extended relief pitcher for the Mets. Got Javier Ramos coming in here to close out until Mariano Rivera comes in. But no, I don't want somebody like that. But you also might need somebody like that if you're going to get somebody that, because there's not a lot of minutes to be spoken for. I just don't know how else to put it.
No, there's not. I mean, it's like what was the Wisconsin quarterback that we got? Pine, right?
No, Braden Locke.
Braden Locke, sorry.
Pine was the guy that went to ASU and wasn't.
That's right. But we need someone like a Braden Locke who's going to come in and kind of be a senior leader, high character guy who can look. If you have an injury, he can fill in. But it's with so many portal guys, how it's amazing that the staff is able to like identify guys that they want. I mean, to me, that seems like the hardest thing. I was looking at all the portal guys yesterday, and there's thousands of people. How do you scout all these people?
Yeah, no, they can just do what I do and pretend to just look at him or say, hey, I know everything about it. Some guy from like UC Davis, and I'm like, oh, I've been on that guy for years. That guy's great. Yeah,
you watch like one clip of him on YouTube.
Yeah, no, I mean that's all you got to do in this, man. Seriously, like I'm like, all right, looks good enough to me. Bring him in here. I always like the ones too. Like, have you? There's this clip going around about how this guy is trying to say that Maluwatch is a stretch 5. And he keeps showing this video clip where it shows all 8 threes that he made this year or something. And he's like, look at the form. And then one guy puts on there, well, he is 8 for like 39 and like with like 12 air balls. But yeah, let's just look at that highlight clip. Yeah, it's close enough. Oh, I got a question about that in a second. But hey, first, let's pay a few more bills. Get a little ka-ching. All right, what do we got? Green Valley Decorative Rock. I don't think there's any doubt about it that Ant Wright believes that Green Valley Decorative Rock is only in Green Valley. I bet that guy is pushing that like no other. Yeah, we'll get to Aristot in a second. I believe that guy is pushing that like no other. But, again, it's the people without moral character, without any real fiber in their being that are pushing this narrative. And you know what? We have fought back against this, and we have fought back against it in the strongest of ways. Just like we won't endorse Andre Veras, we are not going to sit here and let anybody on our watch say that Green Valley Decorative Rock is only in Green Valley. It is here in Tucson, and they deliver up north to Oracle, west to Marana, east to Sierra Vista Benson, south to Nogales. 50 plus locally sourced landscaping materials. Again, don't be like Ant Wright and think that they're just in Green Valley.
Well, I heard he started that rumor. Is that true?
The guys, it's scurrilous. I don't know how else to put it. There's just slimy people out there. Do not believe the rumors. Green Valley Decorative Rock, back the rock, baby. Let's see. Somebody at TJ Van Martyr, someone in the chat said it was Adia who spread those vile rumors. I can see that. Yeah. Also, we're gonna get to that super snap here in just a second, Cody. Don't forget that. Also, Eris Dental. Matt Rain, do you have a tongue?
I do have a tongue.
All right. That means that you have gone to a dentist where they're not just that only probably offers necessary treatment. They're not looking to, take a scapula or scalpel. Scalpel. Yeah. Scapula. Yeah. What's a scapula?
I think that's like your.
Is that like your
scapula, your scalp,
scapula, whatever the case may be. Yeah, you don't want any of that though. You don't want them taking your gums and putting them in the front of your mouth and then saying, "Oh yeah, I had to put these here. Sorry, here's an extra $900,000 that you have to pay." They don't do any of that here. But also, Matt, have I told you about? Obviously, everybody knows that in high school my nickname was the championship package.
I've heard.
Yes, we know this. Yes. But they also offer their own championship package here, which is much different. It is $1997 for implants and crowns, my friend. Again, you don't have to go to Burundi. You don't have to go to Myanmar or any of those places and, to try to save a few dollars. You can go there and you can have it. Eris Dental, Tucson Teeth, Tucson Implants, my friend, TucsonImplants.com. Look how happy this lady is in this picture right here. She's probably really happy because she knows that she's going to get to keep her tongue. I mean, and she's not going to have to worry about waking up. And she's also probably thinking about the Tucson, the championship package. I mean, who isn't?
She might be, Mike. That could have been your high school sweetheart. We don't know.
Yeah, who knows? TucsonImplants.com, TucsonTeeth.com. Land the man with the master plan. Okay, now, Mike, also, I'm very good at discovering who burners are. Because here's why they're not good at it. We love Dennis Walsh a great deal on this show. He's our favorite Jet. Keep that up there, Cody. Did I ever tell you about Dennis Walsh's his humble brag about his Jet days? Listen to this.
Tell me.
He said, "Yeah, I was taking Bert from this to that. Oh, Bert, only the richest guy in Tucson by like $500 million. Bert." But Dennis Walsh is also Mike Luke's daughter, because this was brought to my attention. Dennis Walsh and Mike Luke's daughter never comment at the same time in this chat. And Dennis Walsh has been noticeably absent in today's chat. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Real investigative work there.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm good, man. Seriously. Hey, when you need like a Secret Service detail in your president, you should put me in, and I'll be the one that like goes out there and like clears out the landmines or anything. I'll be like the I'll be the crash dummy. Okay, now Vegas Falcon. Oh, $20 super snap. Can Aristod start at small forward if Carter leaves? Also, what's his injury? I like Aristod a lot. First of all, it's a great name, Dwayne Aristod. Wasn't there a movie called Aristod or something like that?
No, there's Aristotle.
Oh, Aristotle. Yeah. Same
right,
thing.
the philosopher. Right.
Yeah, Aristotle. It's spelled a little bit differently, though. But
there's also Amistad.
Amistad. That was
Amistad.
Amistad. What was Amistad about? Was it about like those fighters in the jungle or something? It was like with like Mel Gibson, or was that like they're like shooting the little arrows at each other? Or what was that one with Mel Gibson?
Isn't Amistad about slavery?
Oh yeah, I think yeah. Close. What is the movie? Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think it's like freedom. Hey, you want to hear my Mel Gibson impression from Braveheart? Freedom. All right. What was that movie though with Mel Gibson? You've got to know this. Where they've got like the little tiny people and they're shooting like poison bow and arrows at like the interlopers. Come on, everybody. We're not moving on until we get this one. No, we're not. Cody, get on here again. ADHD is going crazy. What is that movie? Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson again. Matt, do you have any clue what I'm talking about?
I have no idea, man. You're too old for me.
It wasn't Signs. It was. I don't even know. Maybe he directed it. It was guys. We're not going anywhere until we get this done. No, it wasn't.
Apocalypto. Yeah.
Baby. Yes, Apocalypto. That's I don't know how I got Amistad from Apocalypto, but yes, it's Amistad. Or no, Apocalypto. Can Aristod start at the small forward if Carter leaves? Also, what's his injury? He's an interesting one. I like Dwayne Aristod a lot. He's got a foot injury. Supposedly he's going to be cleared by late April. If he's good to go, he's a fascinating option because this is a guy, Matt, that was a top 15 player before his injury. Very much appreciate the super snap, Vegas Falcon.
Yeah, and he wasn't really talked about much this year because of the injury. And I think that happens from time to time. You have guys who kind of slide in the rankings. They don't play that much their senior year. They're out for an extended time, but then they come back and they play really well in college. And I think he's a guy that can do that. And, I 100% think that if Carter leaves, yes, you need a replacement small forward, but, Aristod can absolutely step in. And, I think, Mike, where do you see him more as? I think the coaching staff has said, maybe shooting guard.
No, I don't believe any of that crap. I think that's
I mean, he's 6'8", play him at small forward.
No, yeah, I don't believe any of that. And I don't know if it was Murph that told Shear or whatever, but I don't believe any of that. I don't believe any guy that's coming in here that hasn't played in a year or whatever and is already 6'8", 215. And you saw that picture of him too. He's huge. They are little guys. They were like shooting like little poison arrows at each other. But Aristod, though, he's going to be 225 by the time the season starts. No, he's not going to be a shooting guard. I don't care what anybody says. He's not going to be a shooting guard, but he's a small forward. He's a small forward / power forward. You know a big pet peeve of mine, Matt Rain?
What?
Besides people that should be president already that aren't because of age restrictions. I hate when players, and I'm not making this up about Amistad. I'm going to mess that up. Aristod. I hate when players do not know what they do well. And they try to, and I'll bring this up. I'm not talking bad about Brayden Burries because he's going to play in the NBA and awesome. But Brayden Burries, in my opinion, this is my opinion, is a scoring guard. Scoring is the best thing in basketball. It is the hardest thing to find. I can find role players. I can't find a lot of guys that when everybody's looking at them, they're able to get their shot off. I don't understand why players in that situation want to say, I'm a point guard. No, you're a scorer. You're a scorer. You have the best gift going. Do it.
Yeah, and everyone needs especially, you're on a top 10 team. You got to find your own role. And sometimes last year, certain guys on the roster, maybe kind of stepped outside of those bounds.
Yes.
But that's going to be really important for next year and something I think Tommy will have to focus on, especially if Carter leaves and, you have 3 freshmen playing major minutes. What are the roles of those guys? And Burries as a scorer. Koa, what can he do?
Are you team Mo Crevis?
I'm team. I'm team.
You've already got your politician answers down. Is your girlfriend there?
Listen, no, she's not. She's working.
Oh, lame.
Unlike me, but I think Mo. The one thing I'll say about Mo, and we talked about this, I trust Tommy and the coaching staff and their belief in Mo Crevis.
This is such
and until Right. But until he proves otherwise, like if he starts next year and we're 10 games in and he sucks, move on.
Yes.
But look, the fact that Tommy was so invested in Krivas last year, the fact that he had scouts potentially saying he was an NBA draft pick, he has a lot of potential. Can he fulfill that potential? Maybe.
Joseph got this. Joseph got this. This is so good. I'm Team Arizona. Matt, after hearing that question, yes. Let's not offend anybody on any side.
No, I am Team Arizona, but Krivas has something to prove. I mean, it's just a fact. He has something to prove. He
I agree.
Looked a little slow last year, didn't he, Mike? I mean,
he looked very. Again, I use the term glacier. It looked like a. At the court. But that's why I honestly would start as long as Tobey is back, I'm fine with it. Because I know Tobey's not, I know everyone's like, Tobey is not a spacer, or Tobey won't play in the NBA or the MNBA. I don't care. Tobey is good in college. I want Tobey, if Tobey is my baseline starter, the one that I know is going to get 20 minutes per game, and Krivas is, if he's better than expected, then cool. If he's not, then we're good. I'm fine with those two just because I really like Tobey. Yes, TJ Van Martyr. Krivas was definitely not sneaky athletic, our term for athletic white guys.
Yeah, and maybe the injury bothered him prior to him being ruled out for the season, and maybe that's why he was so glacier-like. But,
Glacier is a good description, I think.
That's a great description. Tobey is an amazing player. I mean, what people don't realize, or people forget all the time, he was the nation's second best rebounder.
That's good.
How difficult that is? That is really good. What do you have? How many rebounds did he have in the first half against Oregon? Like 13.
Yeah. And he destroyed Nate Biddle.
Right. So,
by the way, Nate Biddle's one of those guys. Just shave that thing off, man.
Dude, it's gotta go.
That was bad, bro.
It's gotta go.
All right, now Jay Menino. I disagree with you, Jay. Jay Menino's another really good name. Tobey can make it to the what is the NBA? We don't know anything about an NBA on this show. I would assume you're talking about the MNBA. Tobey can make it to the MNBA. His second jump is super quick for a dude that size. Has sticky. The problem with him though is that he doesn't have any range, and he's not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to shoot at all, and he's not going to be able to finish. And like TJ Van Martyr said, Tobey struggled against tall guys like H-Dick. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, granted, H-Dick's like 7'3", but I don't see it. I'd love to be wrong, but I definitely don't see Tobey in the MNBA.
No, he's too undersized. He can definitely have a great career playing basketball beyond college and in Europe and whatnot. The one thing I'll say about Krivas too, and we've seen this with other European players, and I can't remember who just said it. I think Jay Sheen.
Jay Sheen.
Jay Sheen, yeah.
But Jay Sheen.
Right. Look, no soft weenies.
Yeah.
No soft weenies. Krivas, you're a big boy.
Yeah.
You got to be able to use that size and push people around. You're 7'1", 7. Yeah. I mean, how tall? And 250. I mean,
he's huge. Yeah, he's monster.
He's massive. He's massive. Like use your
his
size.
Is literally like
right.
Right.
So bully people, and I think that's what Tobey did. Tobey did this year. You got to do the same thing if you're Krivas, and I hope he adjusts.
Yeah, are we talking about soft weenies? Yeah, MRN. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Okay, now let's see here. Mr. Tyler Warden's going to be on tomorrow for a fan segment, by the way. This injury, 100%. Yeah, he did look better last year. The year before, excuse me, Mount Krivas. So we will see. Hold on, there was something in here. Yeah, ain't right. Very soft weenie. Oh, that's the other thing. So this guy calls me out. And one thing about me is I take all fades, as the kids would say. How about that? Yeah. So it's also a street term. So this guy's calling me out for a month. He sets up spaces for me to come on, and then he doesn't let me on for 10 minutes. And then once I get off, then he starts going off on me and everything. It's like, dude, that is the epitome of soft weenie. No good. I'm going into the lion's den, and you are leaving me at the door locked outside. Boo, boo,
yeah.
boo. Yeah.
I don't know why people care so much about the video that you put out. I mean,
you know what's great about it too? I put the video out. I am not, they're like, oh man, did you see this video? Yeah, the one I put out. And guess what? Not one person has said anything to me, and I will get all the credentials I want next year too.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's so ridiculous, and especially in the context of the conversation about, he was like, "Oh, people are criticizing the woman for posting a First of all, I don't care about that either. I mean, whatever, she was fine. But then people, oh well, she's getting all the hate, while meanwhile Mike Luke gets like what? I literally do not understand.
The guy keeps retweeting the video, I think, like hoping that it's somehow going to be like people are going to say tar and feather this man, and no, they won't. So anyways, to quote, and Ant Wright said it was a technical glitch as for why they couldn't, why he couldn't get me on. So anyways, be that as it may. All right. Let's see. Also, this is a pet peeve of mine here. We are not in 1967 anymore. Just because somebody put something out and said, well, you can't cheer for the team you cover. And so all these putzes that pretend that they're not rooting for the team they cover, they're all rooting for the team they cover, because guess what? It gets them money. It's good for everybody if the team you're covering wins. Guess what? A lot of these guys are also betting on the team too. So miss me with all that archaic nonsense. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
And journalism has changed so much in the scope and breadth of what it means. And it doesn't mean that you have, the national guys who are just so stoic and neutral. And no, it's just, you have people like you and like Sheer, who are,
it is
putting out a product.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
It's what it is. I will make no apologies for it. No apologies. None. Okay. Let's get back to let's get a few reads in here. We're gonna talk Tommy's recruiting classes. Yeah. What do you got? Oh, I know what this is. Oh, I was wrong. RJ's Frozen Cactus, my friend. I will be getting lunch at RJ's Frozen Cactus next week. Also, we are going to be having a UFC fight night. And I think it's going to be May 10th. Very, very excited about this. Yummy. And again, got the massive parking lot that we all know about. 100+ craft beers, $2 deals, pizza, wings, tacos, everything. No bad seats in the house. Matt Rain, you need to come back here at some point, and we will partake in some
RJ's.
Yeah, partake in some of Grandma's old cough medicine up at RJ's Frozen Cactus. It'll be good.
Well, I'll say, Mike, we've had some fun times out. We've had some good nights together. But I think at RJ's we can have some more fun.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun too. Maybe we'll bring Ben One White. He deserves to be there.
He does.
But yes. So again, either way, RJ's Frozen Cactus. My tweet this morning, or my text to you this morning, very, very good about Bruce, and very good. Also, anybody that saw that picture I put out of Bruce was great. All right, now I'm patting myself on the back. Now. Can help you. All right. Now, Bridge Tech Communications. Let's say that you're like, you're looking for a gym, and you're like, I can't find a gym anyway. You know, the reason you probably can't find a gym is because these places aren't using Bridge Tech Communications. Matt, listen, you're a smart guy. Is 750% average ROI good?
It's pretty good. I think from my calculations, it's better than 749%. I'll tell you that much, Mike.
I mean, yes, truer words have never been spoken. That is the thing. They can help you market your gym or health wellness spa. Promotes 100 gyms. Tony is the man. We very much like Tony on this show. BridgeTechCommunications.com. They're big time. Get with them. Big time. Okay, now what else we got? All right, now Comfort X HVAC. What? Okay, here's the. I don't know how that came into me, but all right, residential and commercial HVAC expertise and affordable rates. All right, we all know our good friend Tony Gimino. That guy's miserable, but he's happy in this picture here because he saved $2,000, and he said that that's actually not Tony. In the top right there, but I don't think it's him anyways, but he was very happy with them. He said they did a very, very good job, and a small business with big savings built on trust for the long haul. Perfect track record. ComfortXHVAC.com. Code word Wildcats for 10% off. Yeah, again, go through them. It makes me look good. All right, now let's talk about recruiting classes here. I think it's fair to say that this is Tommy Lloyd's best recruiting class. You would agree with this?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. It's number 1 in On3, 247. Yep. It's number 2, 3.
Yeah, it's top 5 everywhere, and it's gonna remain top 5. I was looking at this though. Miller brought in so many good classes. What are some of since the Miller era? What are some of your best? What are some of the best Arizona classes that Matt Rain has?
I mean, you look at the back-to-back years where Miller brought in Gordon, and then Stanley Johnson. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to top that.
Yeah.
And what I liked about those Miller years, specifically in his recruiting strategy, is that it was a perfect combination of having senior leadership on those teams, right? Guys like TJ McConnell, guys like or older upperclassmen bringing in Brandon Ashley, and then bringing in the young guns, right? Bringing in Aaron Gordon, bringing in Stanley Johnson. Obviously Miller had some misses in between then, but
man, he was a monster. Even at the end,
he was a monster.
Even at the end, the guys that even weren't super highly rated, your Ben Matherins, your Tabellas is like, he had a really, really good ability to just spot talent.
He did. And I think that'll continue at Texas, right?
Right. Listen, I think that I always thought when he was here, he was kind of a meh coach and an A+ recruiter. I think he's a much better coach now. Watching Xavier, it's far more enjoyable to watch, because they shoot threes. They actually like get up and down and run and stuff. I think he's going to kill it at Texas. I think he's going to do really, really well. Mr. Tyler Warden, that one was on there as well. The Zeus, Ashley, Jarrett class. The problem though with that one is that like the ones that like Zeus wasn't a top 10 player, even though he was ranked top 10. The hands pretty much prevented that. And Ashley and Jarrett were, they looked really good on paper, but they didn't feel like top 10 players either. Those other guys you mentioned felt like top 10 players.
Yeah. But even still, the consistency that Miller provided throughout his time. And, again, you're going to have misses. You're going to have guys like Josiah Turner, who turn out to be busts. Or
I think he got arrested for something really bad in like Phoenix a while back.
Well, no one can be arrested for something worse than Chance Comanche. So yeah, whatever.
I'm not comparing him to Chance Comanche. Hey, you hold my beer. I'll name
hold my beer. Well, there's got to be like a top 5 Miller recruiting guys who probably ended up in prison.
You gotta look this guy up. So look at this guy, and this is before your time, Matt. Right? Everybody out there, look up Anthony Smith. He was a top 10 draft pick from U of A football. We actually produced a top 10 draft pick outside of T-Mac, and he went to the Raiders and he played and got like 50 sacks. He became a high contract hitman. And he killed I want to say he killed like 4 people or something like that. He was a contract killer. He is the one that takes all the bait. Are you looking this guy up?
Yeah. I listen. What motivates you? You make $8 million in the NFL. Yeah. Why are you becoming a hitman?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, Is that something too? Is that like an itch you have to scratch growing up? You're like, man, this life just isn't quite working out. I should become a hitman.
I guess. I mean, that's but maybe some CTE head trauma. I mean,
I was watching something about it too. This guy was crazy. So he would like after he did his deed, he would go like bury him in like the Inland Empire desert. And I am thinking to myself, I don't know. That's got to be a great place to bury a body. Who in the world wants to go out into the Inland Empire desert? Yuck. Ugh.
Yeah,
I can't think of any place I would less like to be than that. Maybe SRS, but I'd rather be an SRS. By the way, SRS was everything I was hoping it was going to be on my trip. So let's see here. I know you can't offend anybody because you're going to need the state of Washington later on. So, all right.
Listen, I lived in Portland, Oregon for a couple of years growing up, and too rainy. It was way too for me, man.
Yeah. Too rainy. Can't do it. Not going to do it. All right. We've done really good work here today. Matt Rain is becoming a regular on the show. We like Matt Rain a great deal. The people like Matt Rain a great deal. Matt Rain, where can they find you doing your stuff?
Yeah, on Twitter at Rain on Wildcats. As the season continues, or as the offseason continues, might start trying to post more on Substack and maybe some more in-depth coverage, going over specific schematic things if you're into that. But for now, Rain on Wildcats, REIN.
Matt, you're a coach. I didn't know that you know Apodaca.
I do, man. Yeah, he was my coach as a kid.
Playing. So I refereed one of his basketball games. Yeah, he's a tough guy to referee for, man. He expects the best.
Apodaca's great, and I had a lot of great coaches in Tucson growing up for sure.
Yeah, I mean, dude. And I think our good pal Benwin White, played freshman ball for Jeff Scurrin. So we've got pretty much everything covered here.
We have the Tucson local legends. That's for sure.
I mean, when you look at it, when you look at all of us, you think diamonds in the rough, that probably could have been 5 stars had they been given the right opportunity.
That's right. Sean Miller, I played basketball against his son a couple times, and he would come to some of the games, and
Come on.
Right. Well, exactly. That's what I thought at the time. I mean, so I was hitting threes. I was hitting threes at the JCC, man, and
I've refereed at the JCC many times. They pay very well. And the games are awesome too, because I would be refereeing these like little middle school kids, and all I would have to do is just stand at half court and be like, foul, charge. And it was $30 for like 45 minutes. It was awesome. I wish I could get more. I wish I could make more of those. It was like
earning your keep.
Dude, it was like super. It was like free super snaps. But I guess super snaps are free. But all right. On that note, though, Matt Rain, you'll be back with us next week. We are figuring everything out. Like I said, when you're president, remember everybody in here, my friend.
I will.
All right. For Matt Rain, for Cody James Martin, everybody in the chat and the super snaps, you guys are absolutely fantastic. We'll be back with you tomorrow, 10:30, TTFN, AZ12 podcast.